It's an 8-by-7 block historic village that happens to have the beautiful Chesapeake Bay at one end and the harbor at the other and the marina on the other side. We're kind of nestled in the shoals of the Chesapeake Bay.
Cape Charles has come a long way. It has a lot of nice restaurants in town now. They're all got their own unique taste.
I think the flavor of Cape Charles is utilizing local, sustainable seafood, local fresh ingredients from our local farmers.
Most restaurants in town actually carry shore food. They carry our food, they carry our local seafood, they carry our local produce, and we're benefiting from it.
Local food constantly references a region back to itself, to its roots, its landscape, and its good fortune.
You've got generational farmers here that have been growing vegetables and doing aquaculture for years and years and years, for generations. And we're here in Cape Charles, and Cape Charles has got a really incredible history as a railroad town, deep water harbor, and now has blossomed into this incredible renaissance. And we're just really glad and happy to be a part of the vibe that's going on here in Cape Charles.
Cape Charles didn't exist before the late 18 and early 1900s, when the railroad decided that the best way to get the agricultural riches of the Eastern Shore to points north.
I'm always amazed seeing all the ways people can earn a living around here with food, and whether it's on land or on water, and both are equally important here.
If you go through Cape Charles, you'll notice that a lot of the roads are actually named after crops.
The melons, you have the tomatoes.
There's Nectarine Street, and there's Peach Street, and there's Fig Street.
And then you have the aquaculture on top of it, the crabs, the clams, the oysters.
The best fishing in the world for your big black drum, flounder, oh man, and the world's greatest rock fishing.
Something happens when we pay attention to our local food. We become unique. We experience a sense of self-reliance and even abundance.
I've been here since 2002. When I first moved here, there was 2 restaurants, maybe 1 or 2 shops.
A bunch of people over the past 10 years that kind of had a vision of where we wanted to go with the place, and I think a lot of people's worked hard. A lot of people bought into this place when it was nothing, and they've stuck it out.
More and more is going to happen. I think there's going to be, people will be building more hotels, there'll be more rooms for people, weddings, more destination weddings will be happening, and there'll be a few more restaurants opening.
So this will be a place where people can have a beer, families can come out,
yes.
They can play, they can have a good time. But our next enterprise after that is going to be that lumber yard that's next to us. That belongs to us as well. That's a 2019 project. It's a 10,000 square foot old lumber yard. It's got great big old oak beams. We intend to open that up, put hardscapes, concrete it in, put a stage in, and that's where we're going to call it the yard. We're going to do a stage, and it'll be a music venue and special events.
We affirm our farming traditions and families, which exist everywhere. Our vocabularies for local life become infused with nuanced colors and references to specific heirlooms that only grow in certain places.
All of our seafood gets brought right to the dock, comes over the dock and goes right up in the kitchen. So you're not going to get much fresher than that. The oyster farm is part of the Virginia Oyster Trail. Our oyster story is that pretty much it's in this area. Most of the oysters are aquacultured, and it's mostly, sitting right across the creek over here, Cherrystone Aqua Farms is the biggest aquaculture business on the whole Eastern Shore, so we don't have to go far to get our oysters.
When you taste an oyster that is so fresh, that's truly just come from the bay, cleaned up and served in that manner, there's nothing better.
I like them big enough to fit a saltine cracker, and so I want the coverage, and I like a little bit of cocktail sauce and vinegar. When you go up and eat at the restaurant here, you can select, you can actually get a seafood top that's got different oysters, so you can taste the difference between seaside and bayside and different creeks and stuff, and you can taste the different salinities in the water.
Every event you go to, like whether it's a party or funeral, whatever it might be, there were sweet potato ham biscuits. So my husband Jim and I decided we need to dig into this and find out what it is and why is it unique to the shore. and can we start serving them for breakfast? And so we did a little research and we found out that Thomas Jefferson has this incredible sweet potato ham biscuit recipe. Our soil has this loamy consistency to it, so a sweet potato grows really, really easily. So we have combined Thomas Jefferson's recipe and a wonderful shore woman and a little cookbook we found, Susie Mapp, and combined those two recipes, and my husband Jim's the baker, and he combined those two to come up with a Bay Haven Inn sweet potato recipe.
Local beauty, often embodied in local food, is accessible beauty. Some individuals go above and beyond to bridge socioeconomic gaps and actively help all boats to rise.
One of the biggest things that we teach the kids is how to run a farm stand. So our farm stand we run in the summertime, and the kids, it's kind of a process. We have the kids who harvest and they weigh, so they track how much produce is harvested. Last week actually we harvested over 100 pounds of produce in 1 week. It's amazing. They put it on the farm stand. We talk about how much we want to price our farm stand, and then we talk about the connection to what that might be at the local grocery store, and then we invite members of the community to come to our farm stand to buy our produce. So the kids get to interact, they get to learn eye contact with the customers, they learn how to add up the items that they buy, that the customers buy, and they learn how to count money back, which is in the computerized age something that really doesn't happen too much anymore. And they learn just that customer service skill. It pays off down the road. And then at the end of the day, one of the coolest things is the kids get to take home a brown bag of what's left over so that they can have it in their own homes. They can try those things that they've picked. And that's of course free to all the kids, just like all of our programs.
Food is such a commonplace, isn't it? So I know like when we sit down for breakfast in the morning with our guests, you can have people from all over. And as soon as you bring that food to the table, it breaks down any barrier there would be, whether it's age or where they're from. You know, we can have people, one of our favorite things is that we have somebody that is celebrating their first anniversary and their 50th anniversary.
This time of year we get a lot of tourists that don't know anybody, so when the locals are in, they kind of meet locals and hear about the town, and conversation goes from there.
Once people come here, they get a good impression on who we are and what we are. I mean, people in town's friendly. It's pretty much everybody offer you to eat. It's just, I mean, realistically, but I think we're true to ourselves of who we are.
We have a snack time at the beginning of all of our sessions where the kids come together and they gather around the table and they have a healthy snack, something that ties into the lesson of the day or something that we're growing to show them how they can use what they're growing in the garden. They get time to chat and to become friends, and then those relationships build when they go back to school or when they see each other at the parade downtown or at the grocery store. Those relationships really build, and so we're proud that we have a very diverse group of kids. Some of those kids wouldn't, outside of the garden, get to know each other, and they all come together and have a great time.
That's certainly bringing people together with food.
That is.
Better than any place I've ever heard.
So, well,